Earlier today, I listened to Farron Cousins, and I mean, what's it, Ring of Fire? He's got two, Farron Balanced and Ring of Fire. And I listened to Ring of Fire, and I saw the title of this one. And I'm going to tell you the title. Republican rep says she'd shoot her grandkids to protect her gun rights. And I'm like, whoa, dude. So that's crazy, right? So I want to hear this. And so I listened, and after listening, I'm like, I think Farron was pearl clutching. I think he went a little bit hyperbolic. I think he, the people that when something happens, they panic, they blow it completely out of proportion, say the wrong thing, try to sound like a victim, and then when anyone gets the actual story, then that person sounds either like a moron or trying to weaponize something or being tribalistic. For a quick example, lady drops her phone, doesn't realize it, accuses the minorities of stealing her phone, call the police, commits assault and everything, and then blames them for the assault and stealing her phone, and then someone gives it to her and it's like, oh, here's your phone, you left it here. No apology, no nothing. She got in trouble for that, major trouble, which is good. So just look, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play this, and I want you to hear it because I don't hear what Farron Cousins hear. At the same time, I can see where there might be a mix-up, but I'm also talking about what he should have talked about if he heard correctly. This is what I'm just saying. I don't think he heard correctly, so here it goes.
Thank you, Representative Jordan. I rise in opposition to H.R. 2377. I have 5 grandchildren. I would do anything to protect my 5 grandchildren, including, as a last resort, shooting them if I had to protect the lives of my grandchildren. Democrat bills that we've heard this week want to take away my right to protect my grandchildren. They want to take away the rights of law-abiding citizens to protect their own children and grandchildren and wives and brothers and sisters.
I love guns so much. Let me tell you how much I love them. I love my grandkids. But you know what I would do? I would shoot those grandkids if it meant I got to keep my guns.
That is where he messes up. Because that's not what she said. That's not remotely what she said. She never mentioned, I'll kill them to keep my guns. No. What I heard, there's no interpretation to it. She says, if my grandchildren was of danger to my any other grandchildren or my grandchild being a danger, and as a last resort, if I had to, I would shoot and kill that grandchild from, killing or severely harming the other grandchildren. And that is a situation that some people have found themselves in throughout all of history when guns became mainstreamed. Some kid pissed off at the family or angry at society wants to say, hey, look, you're in my way, I'm shooting you. And the parent, grandparent, or someone has to eventually make that call and put down that kid, because you can't just disarm somebody with a gun. They shoot you, you're done, usually. So I get what she's saying. And having to defend a Republican is aggravating. It's just as aggravating as having to defend a Democrat. I'm just being honest with you. But it sounds like straight up pearl clutching on Farron Cousins' part. If he had heard what she was saying, then he could have made the argument of, this is a situation where you can say, maybe you should be the adult and be responsible and try to keep guns away from kids. Because the Democrats, as she goes hyperbolic and tribal, they're trying to take away my right to defend. No, they're trying to remove the ability to willingly murder people just on a whim. You're angry that day. You want to blow off steam. Someone ticks you off. It could be a lot. People get angry quickly. People are panicked faster, and they will react knee-jerk, however you want to say it, as quickly as possible for the nearest thing around. At one point, it was people being stabbed, knives, constantly. And then certain knives had to go into regulations. Certain knives were prohibited from being sold. That was it happened in the 60s. It happened again in the mid 80s. And then it got to the point that just said, screw it, it don't matter anymore. Because guns were so bad, no one cared about a knife. He could have spoke on the fact that she's playing the victim in this. And you know what? Nobody has a right. No one, look it up. No one has a right to protect themselves. Okay? A well-organized militia, okay, they can do it, not the individual. It's a militia, an army, a military, a regulated group of people. If they're citizens by a government entity, they can do this as a group to defend whatever needs defending, not the individual. Spinning the Second Amendment into an individual thing of privilege to be able to go off and shoot whoever you want is no. You don't have a right to shoot. You don't have a right to breathe. You don't have a right to eat whatever you want to eat. You don't have those rights. Rights are literally saying the government cannot stop you from doing whatever that right protects. Individual companies, people, and stuff like that can stop you. The government can't. Your free speech is protected. Ergo, the government cannot silence you. However, companies and businesses, households, and whatnot can say, we don't want you wearing that shirt or that type of clothing here. Just think about that. So, in all honesty, you can loosely put it that schools are government paid. Ergo, schools should not have the ability to tell you what you can and cannot wear. So since they really can't, it's a guideline. If you don't go by the guidelines, then you can't go to that school that day until you get correct. That's what you call the loophole right there. So this woman, and she's talking about her right. She doesn't have that right. Nobody does. And I know you want to say that because everyone's become accustomed to saying my right to do this. I have a right. I have a God-given right. A right. No, you don't. You don't. And if you think you do me and you a powerful solid. Find anywhere in the Constitution, Bill of Rights, any amendment or anything where it says you have the right to such and such. Just name that. Do you have the right to protect your family? Find that. You have the right to the pursuit of happiness, but you're never guaranteed to find it. And so long as we got people claiming false rights and believing false rights and tribalists of this because people just want to do what they want to do without consequence, then we will never be able to attain any modicum of happiness.